All right. Good evening. I think we're live, trying to get this live stream going. I'm still working on things. Got the setup back here, all the Big Fish Awards and the Saltwater Angler Awards and all that stuff. So still trying to get all this together, but hopefully we're getting there. Still working on the move and getting all that stuff together. So thank you for joining us tonight. And before I get too far into the live stream, make sure you say hello when you come in the live stream. Make sure you do that because I'd like to know who's here with us. So because if I'm talking to the wind, that really, whatever, we still do that as well. But I wanted to just say hello to everybody. So make sure you say hello when you get into the live stream. Wanted to invite everybody to go on and subscribe to our channel. I notice a lot of people are watching our channel but have not yet subscribed to it. So make sure you do that. If you have not done so already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. The link is in the chat, so make sure you check that out. Also want to invite you to the very best Discord server, fishing server in the world. It's run by my friend Stanley Orchard, a great guy. And if you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you do that. I'm going to put that link here in the description into the chat so that you can go ahead and subscribe to that, because we get on there, there's a lot of information, you have questions, whatever it might be, we're answering questions people have about things. So make sure you subscribe to the Discord server, and there is the link to that. So make sure that you're doing that. But that's all things that you need to do. Go subscribe, go get on the Discord server, go do all that. But tonight we are going to be talking about fishing etiquette. And we're going to approach it from two different standpoints. We're going to approach it from pier fishing and then also from boats. So I'd love to know what you think about this. We're going to start with the pier fishing because I know a lot of people don't have boats. And so we're going to do that. We're going to go on there and we're going to talk about that. But then also we're going to do boat etiquette as well. So again, love to know here what you guys think about this, and we'll go through these articles. The first one, I'll put the links to the articles if you want to take a look at those. Here's the first one. It's from Free Angler America, I believe is the website. That for this first one, it says no boat, no problem, a beginner's guide to pier fishing etiquette. Stanley, no problem, man. I am honored to be a part of this server, and I've been poking around. I'm kind of a novice when it comes to Discord, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But at the same time, I've been enjoying it. There's a lot of information, a lot of great people on there, so you're easy to promote something when it's something that's that quality. So good job there. But anyway, no boat, no problem, a beginner's guide to pier fishing etiquette. So let's talk about this. As you don't need a John boat, a center console, and guide to catch saltwater slammers this summer. Much of America's coastal waters are dotted with public fishing piers, and again, they're all over the place. You can find them just about anywhere. Just get any map there, and you can find them. There's a few more frustrating for dedicated pier rats. I think that's a funny name, pier rats. Maybe we also have jetty rats. I don't know. Maybe there's jetty rats as well. But anyway, these seasoned pros have put in time and understanding to the best ways to catch fish. If you stay on their good side, they'll share some knowledge with you. But if you make sure you want to find the rules. There are always rules that are posted on there, and that's fine. These are all standard rules that are part of any pier fishing, but that's not really what I thought would be important, because these are just obvious things that you don't want to do. Don't dive off the pier, things like that. The biggest thing is the unwritten rules of pier fishing, and this is where I thought we could start talking about it. First, keep a mess to a minimum. One of the things that you see when you go onto a pier is people that kind of just spread out their stuff everywhere. It's like they think that they own the pier and they are just taking over the whole thing, and you don't want to do that. Don't fan out your fishing gear across the pier rail. Other people want to fish too, so keep the space you occupy minimal. Leave room for other anglers. Throw away your fishing line. Most piers have a tube for fishing line. Put the fishing line in the tube. Take it with you. Take it home. Don't throw it in the water. We don't want to do that. Bait packaging, other garbage. You don't want to see your garbage blowing around into the water. Nobody likes to see that. As with most outdoors activities, pier fishermen should have a leave no trace philosophy. When you're done with the day, there should be no visible evidence that you were ever there. Pick up your trash. You can take it with you or put it in the receptacles. And if you do clean your fish on the pier, some piers do have fish cleaning stations. So make use of that, but make sure you clean it out. There's nothing that's more annoying than a day when you're out there fishing, you're out there doing these things, and there's all these fish carcasses and everything, and somebody hasn't really cleaned up after themselves. So just make use of that. Clean up after yourself. And I think that's the first tip. That'll really help you getting good with the seasoned anglers there on the jetties or on the piers that you do. Stay in the orchard. That's exactly it, man. Leave more than what you came. That's a great point. Texas Beach Bum, I know, does that. Some people take extra trash bags with them just simply to pick up trash because, man, unfortunately you go to some fishing spots and people just are trashy. And they leave their stuff everywhere and they trash the place. And I'm a little bit of a conservationist, so I just hate to see when people have actually just trashed the place. Another one, don't use the rail as a cutting board. Pier rail might seem like a convenient place to slice your squid, bloodworms, clams, crabs, shrimp, whatever it is. But you don't want to do that because there's nothing worse than leaning on the rail and having your elbow slide across the sticky, gooey remnants of someone else's bait. Keep the bait rail clean. Matter of fact, I take a cutting board with me, whether it's jetty fishing, really beach fishing, whatever it is. I always have a cutting board with me. I think that's a good thing. They're very inexpensive. You can bring a piece of wood with you to cut your bait on as well. Keep the bait confined to the pier's designated bait boards or use your own to keep the rail clean. And here's an example of a bait board with guys, it looks like he's cutting up some squid there. So use a cutting board, not the rail. And again, that's just important. That's just common courtesy, I think, to do that. This one is one that it's tough because I know that some people, they're not the best. They're novices maybe. They haven't been fishing for a very long time, and so this one might be something, but there's ways to practice this. Matter of fact, it's a good thing to practice your casting. If you're not really good at casting and you want to go out on a pier and you want to enjoy that, that's great. But practice your casting because crossed fishing lines agitate pier anglers. They do. Casting is a skill you should master before you attempt it on a pier full of people. If possible, practice pitching a sinker. Really, even on most piers, you don't even have to cast that far. You can take the rod and you can kind of just pitch it out, and normally that's going to be enough to catch plenty of fish. So if possible, learn pitching a sinker in your backyard. Learn the art of casting straight. If you can't cast straight, drop it straight down. Plenty of fish, they lurk under the planks and around the barnacle pylons. You might get lucky. Now on a jetty, that's not so easy. If you are jetty fishing, you are going to have to learn to cast. That's just one of those things. You're going to have to learn to cast. And you're going to have to learn to cast far, and you're going to have to learn to cast straight. But do it in your backyard. Do it in the street. One of the ways I taught my kids to cast, I got them little poles. I tied a weight onto the end of the fishing line and had them throwing it in the street, just trying to get it to go straight down the street. And that's just one of those things that you've got to learn how to do that, and it's not that hard to do. There's plenty of videos out there on how to cast and how to cast well, so I would definitely just really encourage you, learn to cast well. Because nothing, as Stanley, as you said there, nothing will make an enemy faster than a crossed line. That's true. So if you do cast crooked, apologize, make an effort to uncross the lines before you set down your pole. And give your angler plenty of casts to cast comfortably. If possible, don't crowd out other fishermen, even if they're situated in a fish-producing honey hole. And that's tempting. I know it's tempting to go out there and do that, but don't do that. Don't try and lick somebody else's pot. They will not like it. On a busy summer weekend, some piers can have anglers packed shoulder to shoulder, especially when the fish are biting good. If elbow room is hard to come by, you may need to duck your head and move away from the rail while your neighbor casts. Give an audible heads up for pitching your own rig over a crowded pier rail is also a nice courtesy. Normally, I don't even get close enough to people to do that, so I would not do that. I would just simply make sure you have enough room. And if the pier's too crowded, find another spot or get there earlier next time. One of the two. Here's a big one, and if you are so fortunate as to have a big fish, just this last weekend I was actually pier fishing. Unfortunately, I did not film it, which was one of those dumb things that you always meant to do. If you go to the Discord server, you'll be able to see pictures of that. If you go on our Facebook page as well, you'll be able to see pictures of that. Called a really nice alligator gar, really nice black drum. And one of the things that you do learn, especially on piers, is you help each other. Whether it's piers or jetties, go out there and help each other. If you can help net. The guys that were there on the pier with me, they actually helped me net the fish because there was no way I could actually land the size fish. And so they came over, they grabbed my drop net, and they actually helped me land those fish. But one of the things to remember is that give big fish the right of way. If somebody's battling something big and somebody's battling something hard, get your rods out of the way. When an angler hooks up on a giant king mackerel, cobia, or tarpon, you're going to need to walk the pier to keep up with the fish during the fight. So get your lines out of the way. And that may sound like it's annoying to you to reel in and get out of the way, but you don't want to get your line tangled in somebody else's line, and then it breaks their line because it got tangled up in yours. So it's just big fish are unpredictable. So if they're fighting, just get your lines out of the way as fast as you can. A bottom rig in a fish fight path is never high on an angler's list as priorities. Unattended lines often get cut to get them out of the way quickly. The angler might cut and compensate. I've never cut somebody else's line. If you've cut somebody else's line, tell me about how that went. I'd be curious to know how that went. I've never actually done that. But the best thing to do when somebody hooks into a beast, reel your line in, get it out of the way, stand back, enjoy the show. If the tables are turned and you're lucky, guy hooks the monster, it's okay to ask people to move their stuff. I've done that. I've hooked into something, it's big, I'm having trouble controlling it because big fish just do what big fish do. And it's running all over the place. And say, hey man, can you pull in your lines? I'm coming that way. I'll yell to them, and it's a very tense thing because you really don't have a lot of time there. It's okay to ask people to move their stuff. While manners often fall by the wayside in the heat of battle, remembering words like please and thank you go a long way in keeping peace with your fellow fishermen, and I do agree with that. And Stanley, I agree. Make friends, not enemies. And that's the thing when you're out there. Make friends, not enemies. Oh, you want to come say hey? No? All right, Karen just popped in here, so I don't know if she wants to come over and say hey. Want to say hi to everybody? I'll have to, let's see if you can see yourself on the screen because you're just off camera right there.
Oh,
there you
hi.
are. There. Now you're on camera. All right.
There we go.
We were talking about, here, I'll scoot over a little bit. You can kind of get in the shot a little better. Let's see if that's better. Maybe a little more. Yeah, scoot this way. All right. Yeah, the camera's a little high for you. But all right. But anyway. Can you see where you are in the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we were talking fishing etiquette, specifically on a pier, and how there are things that you should do and things you should not do.
You should stand right next to somebody and cast over all of the lines.
Yeah, we just talked about that. We talked about how that would be a really, really bad idea to do. How you should not just simply, lick somebody else's pot, so to speak, or take over. Stanley Orchard says, "Hey," so you can say hi to him.
Oh, where is he?
He sees in the chat.
Oh, there he is.
We're totally professional here.
Yeah.
We know exactly what we're doing. Anyway, he said, I've done it before, but only in select circumstances. You need to outrun the guy or beat him in a fight if you do it. We're talking about, like, if you catch a big fish, to get your equipment out of the way, right? One of the suggestions in the thing he said, the best thing to do when someone hooks a beast is to reel your line and get out of the way, but the angler, unattended lines are often cut to get him out of the way quickly. So could you imagine somebody coming up, run up, and just, there goes your line.
I've never
get
seen
it out
that,
the way. Yeah, I've never seen that, but
I guess that would work.
I mean,
but then
yeah, if you are,
if you're a nice person, you go over and help the guy with the net or whatever.
Yes, generally you'd go over and you'd reel up quickly and you'd do that. But but apparently that's one of them. Which brings us into the next point: is don't leave your gear unattended. If you're not there, I have actually seen people's reels and rods go
poles and then
right
they walk
over.
Away.
Yeah, and so they walk away. Maybe they got to go to the bathroom. Maybe they're going to grab a beer or whatever it be. And the next thing you know,
well, that's very important.
Right over that. Yeah, so don't leave your rods or other gear unattended, especially if they're lying in the water or rods leaning against the rail. Fishing poles can't move themselves. When someone's fighting a big fish, they quickly become a tripping hazard in the heat of the battle. Also, you can end up hooking a big one, when you're not paying attention. That rod can fall. Actually, I wasn't even that far away. When I hooked that gar, I wasn't even far away from the rod. I almost lost it. Because by the time he hooked and he pulled, and my drag was set pretty loose, but still almost went right over.
You almost lost your rod?
Yeah, and that was my ultralight that I just bought. So that would have been really, really sad. Yeah. All right. And the last one, and we're going to switch over to boat fishing here in a second, but the last one for pier fishing etiquette, respect the regulars. Basic pier fishing etiquette boils down to respecting and this was what Stanley was saying. You make friends when you're out there, whether it's on the jetties, whether it's on the piers, when you're around other anglers, do your best to help each other and make friends with them, respect the regulars, because you never know what they'll be able to tell you about fishing in that location. There's been times, especially when we just started, we go out. Matter of fact, just to bring this back up, I was out on that pier. There were 2 anglers from this area that had been fishing on that pier for years and fishing the area. They were more than happy to sit down and just talk with me and tell me a little bit about the area and the fish and what they were doing. So you can make some friends out there and pick up some helpful information, and so respect the regulars. They can definitely help you. So that's just some pier fishing etiquette when you're out there if you're getting started. Maybe if you have an idea.
Don't leave your stinky shrimp.
We talked about that. See, you weren't even here. Were you cheating on the live stream? You're like watching.
No,
okay.
I was driving.
She was dropping off our son playing baseball. But we actually
Really
talked about that.
Yeah,
no, we talked about that. Let me go back up. See, stinky.
Yeah.
Don't do that, right?
Ew.
Yeah, don't use the rail as a cutting board and keep the mess to a minimum. You just don't want to do that. All right, so that's if you're on a jetty or on a boat. But let's talk
mean pier.
A pier. But let's talk about what are you gonna do if you are fishing in a crowd. Let's talk about that, because that's gonna be something else that's gonna be kind of interesting on a boat.
Like being courteous to the others on the boat, or being courteous to the other boaters? Which one are you talking about?
I'm gonna go with being courteous to the other boaters, and I think
Okay.
our camera just froze. I think it just froze, and I don't know how to unfreeze it. Oh well. This now turned into an audio podcast. You can still see, I can still move the screen over here, and that's still moving, but our camera has frozen, which is absolutely wonderful. So we'll have to. Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Stanley just said the camera froze. I can try that.
No, is it in a splitter? Right
It
now?
is in a splitter. Let me see if I can try to hook it into. I don't know if that's going to work, because now I have. Well, we might have an audio podcast now. See if I can restart it. And.
Did we lose internet?
No. It's just the camera. Camera's gone. It froze. All right. Well, looks like we're not going to be able to do anything about this. Maybe I can try and restart it this way.
There.
Did it restart? Yep. All right. Yeah. Good. All right. We got to restart it. Sorry about that, guys. I had the in a splitter, and apparently it wasn't reacting very well to that. All right. So let's talk about.
And you're in a much taller chair than me, just so you know. People.
I know. I wasn't expecting you to join, so I didn't know that.
So I'm not
you
Miss
still
Shorty
got to short this way.
See, tall.
No. You got to scoot your body this way. 'Cause you're still off camera.
Well.
There we go. Okay. All right. So let's talk boating etiquette. And Grant, hey, fancy meeting you here. Yeah. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. Much appreciated. And sorry about the camera issues. Anyway, no one wants to fish in a crowd, it says. Sometimes it's a hot bite combined with sunny weekend weather simply make it unavoidable. The strange thing is, many anglers hear about all the fish being caught at spot X, arrive there to find a million boats, and we have definitely had that happen, where we know a hot spot, we've gone out on the boat, and bam.
And there's already 5 people there.
Yeah.
And so usually you take off and go somewhere else.
Yeah. We just go there. But truth be told, it's easy to get fooled by a crowd of boats. The next time you approach one, don't make one of these mega mistakes. Pull up to the edge of the fleet and just start fishing. Just start casting right at where they're casting. They would appreciate that. Fleet goes from all different directions depending on where the different boats are coming from. When most people reach the periphery of the fleet, they pull back the throttle and start fishing. As a result, the fleet can build until boats are at one edge or another of a solid half mile. from the actual hot spot. So never settle into an area and begin fishing until you found the fish on your meter. I think that's a good suggestion. Because you've seen that even on the flats. You'll see people, and they're just lined up on the flats. You see just boats as far as they can go. And then you don't know the fish are actually there, but people are just pulled up and ready to go. The second one, they say drop anchor on the upcurrent side of the fleet of chummers. Now, I don't use chum. So if you use chum, let us know what that's like, because I've never really chummed, so I don't really know much about that. But it would make sense. The chum's flowing downstream, and you anchor upside of the fleet, and so whenever there's a fleet of boats, it says pulling chum into the water is the best place to position yourself furthest down current edge from them. If the tide changes, you find yourself on the upcurrent side, pull the anchor and reposition. So again, I think that's just courtesy, right?
Yeah, well, some people, they see you fishing and they just blow right through your spot.
We have had that around, yes, especially on the flats.
And then all the fish scatter.
Yeah, especially on the flats, because there's been times where we've been drifting, like drift fishing, and you've got your drift going on. And normally when you come into the flats, that's something you pay attention to. Then somebody sees you drift fishing, especially with drift shot, and they just blow right over the spot. Yeah. So I've never chummed, so I don't know what the courtesy is with that. But again, here's one of those issues. So chumming. Let's see. Grant says never chummed. Stanley says, "Oh yeah, when you get a little aggressive with the boat, especially when people start acting like that." Yeah, I've seen people start chucking weights at one another. Have you ever seen that? No, I don't do it. It's just mean.
I know it could get competitive. One time we were out with this captain.
Oh
and,
yeah.
We caught a really nice sized redfish. And as I was bringing it in, he's like, shh, shut up. Because normally I do make a little bit of happy giggles or noise.
Happy giggles.
So he wouldn't let me talk or say anything because he didn't want anyone to come and sit next to us and take the spot. Because I guess he knew people around there. They look over, they see you netting a fish or bringing it in, or they hear noise, and they just come and park right next to you. So he didn't want me to make any noise. In fact, he made me bring in the fish on the other side of the boat where none of the other boats were, so they couldn't see me bringing them in. And sure enough, we had found a spot because our lines went down line after line after line. We basically limited out.
We just lucked onto that.
And, it was just lucky, but we limited out in like 15 minutes. And
yeah, but he was like, keep it quiet.
But he would not let us make a noise or do anything because he didn't want any of them looking over.
And he was hoping the school would stay there for his clients later. Yeah. Of course, they didn't because fish do move around. But in any case, so...
It was the first time that we hadn't been in Aransas Pass that long, so I didn't realize how aggressive the other fishermen were, that we had to basically be quiet about catching fish or somebody else would come and just blow right in there. Yeah.
Smart captain, he was a good captain. He was peculiar, but he was definitely he knew the water. I'll say it that way. And then we make a habit of fishing wrong when people pull up to throw them off the set. I think for us, we just do that naturally. We just do that naturally. So it's like, oh man, we were catching fish. I don't know where they went. They were here. Anyway, that's funny.
And here's some more boat courtesy. Don't feed the dolphins.
Yeah, don't feed the dolphins.
Because then they stay near everybody's boat, and then they don't go away.
Really, and this is like one of those like feeding the wildlife. Period. Like around here, one of the things they say, don't feed the alligators.
Well, I try not to do that.
Yeah, I don't feed the alligators either, but they say don't feed the alligators.
I don't want
feeding the pelicans, feeding the dolphins, feeding the
wildlife.
They get very aggressive. So. All right, and the last one, try to fish artificials around a bunch of boats that are fishing live bait. I say that's bad etiquette. What do you think?
I don't know about that. I don't know why that would be bad etiquette, except because to me they would navigate towards the live bait if that's the smelliest thing in the water. Normally, your lures are something to help you find the fish and to cause that reaction strike. Once you find them, I would think using live bait is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just what this article said from Fishing Game is to try to fish artificials around a bunch of boats that are fishing live bait. It's not impossible to be successful in this scenario, but quite often when there are a ton of boats and thus a ton of live baits in the water, the fish will be keyed in on them. Getting them to strike artificial can be a tall order.
Oh,
so,
that's what I just said.
I don't know.
Basically, you're going to lose doing that.
Yeah,
because they're going to
it's just not gonna be
navigate
effective.
towards the
Yeah, it's just not going to be effective.
I don't think it's rude, but at the same time, you won't. You're going to want to move spots if you're not using live bait. Then.
Yeah. Okay. So Stanley Orchard said dolphins put up a good fight. I'm not going to ask you how you know that.
What?
That's what he said. Dolphins put up a good fight.
Oh, dear.
I'm not going to ask you how you know that.
Well, doesn't he spearfish?
You don't spearfish dolphins.
No, but if he does,
I think the game warden would be very upset with spearfishing dolphins.
But if Stanley was spearfishing and he noticed dolphins, he might have seen how aggressive they are.
Yeah. Or he I'm not going to speculate. No, I disagree with that one. Changing tactics to make a difference. Other guys have been fishing. Yeah, and see, that's why I just don't. I agree with you, Stanley. I don't. It's going to be harder, I think, but just because people are fishing one way and you pull up to that area, I don't know that it's wrong unless it's going to somehow interfere with what they're already doing.
I don't think it would. I think for us though, we might use artificials until we find them, and then we let the kids fish with live bait once we know where they are.
Yeah.
Hey, the fish are striking right here, and so then we set up shop and let the kids go at it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that one. But I think it's two different styles of fishing, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why that would be a problem. Let's see. It says, laugh out loud. Yes, never spearfish a dolphin. Like mine's scary. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to spearfish dolphins.
No, but you can point it at them and say, hey, my spot.
Get out of here, yeah. Yeah, and we've had some confrontations with dolphins while we're on our boat. They won't go away.
Yeah, and they have teeth. They get a little aggressive.
They do. But anyway, well, this is just some etiquette tips that they had. We talked pier fishing at the beginning of the video, and then here from a boat. But maybe you have some other tips and things that you'd like to share. I would encourage you to do that in the chat. Let us know etiquette things. There's plenty of ways to get out there and enjoy it, but we want to make sure they're being courteous to other anglers that are out there. One of the things that we noticed during COVID is there's a lot more boats out there than what we were accustomed to seeing out there on the water. So a lot more people. We're coming up on a holiday week. This is spring break week. Stay safe out there, people. Stay safe. Remember, alcohol and boating, not a good combination. Make sure somebody in the boat is sober.
Especially if you're the captain.
Yeah, don't do that. We just don't want to. We do the Texas Fishing News. I don't want to do a news of somebody that I know that has had a tragedy strike. So let's not do that. Let's go out there and let's be safe. Be full of etiquette. I know it's even hard for us anglers when there's recreational boaters around. We didn't talk about that, but that's a whole nother thing. So make sure that you're out there. Be courteous to each other. Have fun out there in the water. And make sure, we go fishing with our kids a lot. So we'll make sure that we are setting good examples for each other. Just all these sort of just common courtesy things come into play on the water. The other thing I remind you, and I always tell my kids this, things happen fast on the water.
I have to get to the store and
then
get my son.
Okay, all right. No, say bye. You want to say bye to everyone? Our son?
Yes,
it is our son.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go and wrap this up anyway, but make sure you stay out there. Enjoy your spring break week. And if you've not done so already, subscribe to our channel. Like I said, I know a lot of people are watching. We get a lot of views, and yet people are not subscribing. So make sure you go out there and subscribe. That would really help us. Much appreciated for that. Also, as if you scroll back up in the chat, make sure that you do go on to the Discord server. It's some great information, so much information we can share with each other, sharing pictures, stories, videos, tips, tricks, news, just all the things there. Stanley Orchard and Grant and all the other guys that are on there, they've put some really awesome work into that. I'm just coming into it new, but I definitely want to promote that because there's a lot of good things going on there, so make sure you do that. And I think it's building to be the best fishing community there on Discord, especially maybe on the entire internet, on the World Wide Web. So make sure you do that as well. Thanks for joining us for this live stream. Much appreciated for that. If you have tips or things that you want to share with the fishing etiquette, make sure you do that in the chat. We'll try and do these live streams on Thursdays at 7. Hopefully I can get Karen to join us more. We're going to try and get that. But sometimes there's some other things that get in the way of that, but hopefully she'll be able to do that. Thank you for joining us. Happy spring break, and we'll see you next time. Tight lines.